What's up, brothers and sisters? Your brother G World 7_D. Here's the book, The Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link, by Lee Cummings. Alright? This is Lee Cummings. This is his book. And here's King James, the king of Britain and Scotland. This is original King James. This was Jamestown was named after this brother. Alright? Jamestown was named after this brother. I'm going to go turn in this book, because we'll read several things out of this book. Because you need to see this. Because I am so tired of these Pan-Africans, man. They don't make any sense, and they haven't done no real study. Okay, here we go, right here. Oliver Cromwell, chapter 3, right here. If I can get a focus, good focus here. Here we go. Okay, here. History records that after the execution of Charles I of Scotland and England, the Oliver Cromwell invaded Scotland, killed 4,000 men, and took 10,000 captives. For some inexplicable reason, it took Cromwell 1 year to end the war in Scotland. Alright? And then he goes on to say, what I do know, and I am certain of is that he deported the Scots to American colonies. These black Europeans were sent to Barbados, Boston, Charlestown, Cambridge, Concord, Hingham, Ipswich, Virginia, Newark, and the southern plantations. These are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. These Scottish blacks are among us in the Americas, and we are ignorant of their existence as well as they are. It has been reported that in the African American community, a lot of blacks have Scottish and Irish last names. All right? And here's an image of a black person on the coat of arms. Now, I've showed this before in J.A. Rogers' book. Known as like the little headband right here. You know, that's something that our brothers and sisters have been wearing for thousands of years. But this is a black Scottish figure from Europe. Now, I'm going to go and read here. Here it is. The black coat of arms, as you probably know, was found in Scotland, Europe. It has been written that Andrew, the chief of the clan, rendered homage to King Edward I of England in 1296. The purpose of this image is to reinforce the writing of the historians that the original people of Europe were black. All right, the original people of Europe were black. All right, color is only being mentioned for the sake of identifying a people amongst us. All right, talking about the original people. I want to go further over. I'm going to skip further down. Oh, here it is. When Oliver Cromwell enslaved and deported the Irish, Scots, and Brits out of the land, he gave the land to his soldiers under the Land Confiscation Act. It was said that he did this because he couldn't afford to pay his soldiers. All right, let's go on even further. Oliver Cromwell. Again, he was a Negro himself. Oliver Cromwell was Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Ireland, and Scotland after the assassination of the Scottish King Charles I. Upon taking military command of the Commonwealth, he invaded Ireland, and history states that he committed genocide in Ireland against the black population. The black Irish that he didn't kill, he sold into the slave trade. In 1641, Cromwell had 300,000 black Irish sold into the North Atlantic slave trade, and in 1615 he had 100,000 Irish Scottish children sold into Barbados. I repeat, the black Irish that he didn't kill, he sold into the slave trade. In 1641, Cromwell had 300,000 black Irish sold into the North Atlantic slave trade, and in 1650 he had 100,000 Irish Scottish children sold into Barbados. All right, and we go further down. Oliver Cromwell Edict, 1653. Those who fail to transplant themselves to Connaught or Clare within 6 months shall be guilty of high treason. You will then be sent into America or some other part beyond the sea. The Royal African Company sent 249 ships to West Indies, sending 660,000 African and Irish into the Americas and West Indies. Make no mistake about it. These people are here in this colony with us. I'm going even further. All right. Here's a picture of another Irish coat of arms. All right. It's the same picture before. I think it's the same picture I showed before. No, yeah. This is a picture of another Irish coat of arms. All right. The other one was Scottish, my bad. Here it is. This is an image of a black Irish coat of arms from the Gilbert family. 3 of the Gilberts related to this coat of arms have been traced to Barbados. Thomas Gilbert, Barbados, 1635. Francis Gilbert, Virginia, 1736. And Robert Gilbert, Barbados, 1678. All right. The timeline fits with the eyewitness account of Irish being shipped into the slave trade. All right. But, at a great number. Right? And he highlights a book in here, Whence the Black Irish by Joseph Williams. Talking about black Irish being shipped over here to America. Now, I'm going to read this over here. All right. These are some of the black Irish that came here on slave ships directly from Europe, ladies and gentlemen. The Scots, Irish, or Welsh Brits are the same people. According to Boyd Dawkins, our earliest ancestors, when the English invaded England in 449 AD, they pushed the black English west into Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Mr. Boyd Dawkins further states that by 677 AD, the whites, now call themselves English, have pushed these blacks onto a land that cannot sustain them. All right? So it's basically talking about how with all the invasions, many of the blacks were being pushed in different lands, different areas. And eventually they were shipped over here, expelled out of their land, and shipped over here to America. I'm going even further, all right? I say this needs to be said because you get these idiots like Umar Johnson who just tell you you're from African slave trade. Or you get these idiots, Angel Ramirez Jordan, who's saying the same damn thing, man. These people are really ignorant because they haven't done no real studying. The information's out there. You're going to have to seek it. If you don't want to seek it, man, that's on you. But the information's out there. You gotta, like I said, you gotta go dig for it. You have to go dig for this information because this information, it's a lot of it's in your face. But then, to be honest with you, you do gotta go really hunt for it. Here's some more. All right, here it is. Here it is right here. Chapter 4. Oliver Cromwell in Britain and Wales. Here it is. In the 17th century, 500,000 Huguenots had been deported from France and were given asylum in Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and the electorate of Palatinate by the King Charles II. The French were originally a black nation. I repeat, the French, if I can get it clear, right here, the French were originally a black nation. But after the French were originally a black nation. But after the white English had taken over the country, they either deported or forced the black Frenchmen to leave. History states that while they slept, ships were waiting in the harbor to take them to Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and the Palatinate electorate. Why am I mentioning these people? Because they jumped out of the frying pan right into the fire. Once they get off these ships, they were sold into the American colonies. Here it is. Once they get off of these ships, they were sold into the American colonies. Okay, these were the people who Boyd Dawkins described as being the Basque. Small, long-headed, dark men who inhabited all of Europe before the arrival of English. The captives of Wales with the Huguenots ended up in Pennsylvania. Okay, Connecticut, Idaho, Tennessee, Ohio, Rhode Island, and slave plantations of the American South. Slave plantations of the American South. All right. This is a matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Think about this for one moment. When the slave ships left London's markets, it already was loaded with captives, and once the ships made it to West Africa, I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to go back up here. Think about it. This for one moment, when the slave ships left London's markets, it already was loaded with captives, and once the ships made it to West Africa, it stopped in Judah. All right? It stopped in Judah, slave coast, and picked up more captives. Once the slave ships left the west coast of Africa, she continued on to the Middle Passage, and from there she proceeded to the Americas. These ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. I repeat, these ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. I repeat, these ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. I'm going to repeat this again. These ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. I'm going to say this again. These ships were carrying two different groups of blacks. I'm going further. One group of captives came from Ireland, Britain, Wales, Scotland, and France. The other group came from West Africa. Brothers and sisters, wake up and learn your damn history. Please. Here we can go even further. The ancient British Wales and the English were two different people. The ancient Brits were black and invading English were white. Brothers and sisters, this talking about the expulsion of the Aboriginal blacks who were in Europe. Alright? And they came in and mixed in with the Aboriginal blacks here. This is old news, but this is in his brother's book, The Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link. Now we see the Negro King James. I'm going to go even further, man. Okay? In his book, he has right here, he goes, I'm going to go a little bit further right here. The only three kings that could satisfy this dating is King James I of England, Charles I of England, and Charles II of England. These black kings were called the Stuart line of kings of Charles II, was called the Black Boy. All right. Images of King James VI of Scotland, King Charles I of Scotland, and the Black Boy, King Charles II of Scotland. These are Negroes, man. These are Negroes. These are all black people who originally ruled Europe, and they were expelled to the Americas. All right. And he has in the book right here, Scottish captives were sent to Barbados, Boston, Charleston, Cambridge, Concord, Hingham, Ipswich, Virginia, New England, and Maryland. Irish captives were sent to the Amazon, West Indies, Antigua, Montserrat, Virginia, New England, Barbados, Australia, Jamaica, and Guyana. And then Wales captives were sent to Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Idaho, Tennessee, Ohio, and Rhode Island. All right, these are all Negroes. All right, these are all Negroes. These are all Negroes. These are all Negroes. So you had two different groups of blacks that was being shipped over here to the Americas. So when you hear these Negroes say, "Oh, you just come from West Africa," no, it was constantly. I said this before over and over again. It was a constant connection between the different continents, originally of black people trading and selling and fighting amongst each other. But in that instance, I just read you, there were slaves taken from Europe, the bulk of them, and then they went into Africa and they took some there. And then they came into the Americas and they mixed in with the black people who were already here. Your history's in your face. Do not listen to people like Angel Ramirez Jordan. That Negro hadn't done no real research. Talking, well, we all African because the boat just stopped here. The boat stopped in another location, I guess, where his relatives are at in Puerto Rico and Jamaica. That's a dumbass idiot, man. No damn. Black people come from multiple places. And black Americans, Aboriginal Americans, are made up of various different black groups. Most of us, I keep saying, are descendants of the Aboriginal blacks here and black Europeans. That's what most of us are. A lot of those black Europeans were sent to Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas, Pennsylvania. They were shipped here in large numbers. They were being expelled out of Europe. All right. So basically, it was a genocide that was being done on them, and done by another Negro, Oliver Cromwell. So you had a lot of black people fighting amongst each other, not only in Europe, but they would obviously hear about them doing it in Africa, but they were doing it here in the Americas too. We were fighting amongst each other, killing amongst each other, and it was basically for greed. So I'm gonna let you brothers and sisters know that what frustrates me is that this information is in your face, but I also know that you do have to really research it. But it's there. All right. And the book that he referenced, Boyd Dawkins, I have that book. That's an exceptional book. I think you do need to get that by Boyd Dawkins. But this is Lee Cummings' book, man. He's a brother. Get this book, man. He has various different volumes of the Negro question. Get this book because this is our history. We need to really learn our history. We got to stop listening to people like Umar Johnson, who don't know what the hell he's talking about, or Angel Ramirez Jordan, or Sarah Seti, or the Amara Squad. None of them clowns. They don't know what the hell they talking about. They have not done a real research. Those are basically idiots, man. Stop listening to them. Let's grow. Let's continue to learn. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to build as a people. All right. Peace and love.